The following contains spoilers for the upcoming season of Game of Thrones. Hey guys, today I'm going to explain you who Azor Ahai is and which character it could be in TV show. Okay, I am aware that most of you watched only TV show, while a lot of you didn't read the book, so for all of you and of course for all of you that are not introduced with Azor Ahai and his legendary story. Let me first tell you a little bit about Azor Ahai and then I'll focus on rebirth of Azor Ahai and which character it might be. Azor Ahai was a legendary hero who wielded a burning sword called Lightbringer. In some other cultures, this warrior is called Haikunu the Hero, Yintar, Neferion, and Eldric Shadow Chaser. Legend of Lightbringer says that the darkness laid over the world and the hero, Azor Ahai, was chosen to fight against it, but to fight the darkness, Azor Ahai needed to forge a sword. Azor Ahai's first attempt to forge a sword lasted 30 days and 30 nights until it was done. But when he went to temper it in the water, the sword cracked. After that, Azor Ahai tried again, but that time it took him 50 days and 50 nights to make the sword. To temper it this time, Ahai captured a lion and stuck the sword in the lion's heart, but once again, the sword cracked. Azor Ahai knew that he must forge a sword, no matter of consequences, so he tried one more time in which he gave all of his effort and in which he sacrificed his beloved wife. This third time, Azor Ahai worked for 100 days and 100 nights until it was finished, and this time Azor called for his wife, Nissa, and asked her to bare her breast. Azor Ahai struck his forged sword into his beloved wife's living heart, her soul combining with the steel of the sword, creating Lightbringer, the red sword of heroes. It is unknown if Azor Ahai is connected with the legend of the last hero who lived during the long night and helped to defeat the others. However, according to prophecy, in ancient books of Ashai from over 5,000 years ago, Azor Ahai will be reborn again, when an evil cold darkness descends upon the world. It's said that wielding Lightbringer once again, Azor Ahai will stand against the others, and if he fails, the world fails with him. According to prophecy, these are indicators of the coming of Azor Ahai. Let's start with those indicators. After a long summer, when the stars bleed and the cold breath of darkness falls heavy on the world, he, Azor Ahai, shall be born again amid smoke and salt. He shall wake dragons out of stone. He shall draw from the fire a burning sword, Lightbringer. If Azor Ahai is the same as the prince that was promised, she is born of the line of Aerys II and Rhaella. Also, she is the Song of Ice and Fire according to Rhaegar Targaryen. On the TV show, first time we met with Azor Ahai's theory was the scene in which Stannis wields a magic sword that was forged by plunging a blade through the burning statue of the maiden at the Sept of Dragonstone, after Melisandre convinced Stannis that he is Azor Ahai. That ceremony was meant to be a rebirth of Azor Ahai. The burning statues of the seven provided smoke and the waves on the shores of Dragonstone provided the salt. But however, Stannis wasn't born from the line of Mad Aerys and Rhaella. And also, while Stannis' sword shined thanks to Melisandre's magic, it gave off no heat, meaning that the sword couldn't possibly be Lightbringer. Now let's move on to theory in which Jon Snow is Azor Ahai. Let's start with possible proofs that are going in favor to this theory. After a long summer, Azor Ahai will be reborn amid smoke and salt, prophecy says. This could point on Jon's resurrection. He was reborn after he was stabbed to death by Night's Watch traitors, so here we have rebirth. But what about the part of smoke and salt in it? Well, in my opinion, the wall could represent the salt, since in the books it's told that the wall contains the salt in it. Quoting from the books, the door's upper lip brushed against the top of Bran's head, and a drop of water fell on him and ran slowly down his nose. It was strangely warm and salty as a tear. Now, this sentence confirms the fact that the wall is salty, but could the salt of the wall represent the salt in the sentence of prophecy? Well, in my opinion, it could. Now, let's try to solve the smoke part in it. Since the prophecy says that Azor Ahai will be reborn amid smoke and salt, well, the smoke part also came true. Do you remember that Melisandre, while she performed the resurrection ritual to bring Jon back to life, do you remember that Melisandre cut the locks of Jon's hair and tossed the curls into the flames, after which we've seen the smoke? This is the only one part of prophecy, but this is not the only one part that matches with prophecy. It's said that prince that was promised should have the blood of the dragon, should be born of the line of the Mad King, Aerys Targaryen and Rhaella Targaryen, which Jon is, if Rhaegar truly is his father. Let's assume that HBO didn't trick us once again, and let's assume that there are no more secrets. Let's assume that Rhaegar really is Jon's father. In that case, Jon is born of the line of Aerys and Rhaella. Furthermore, they are Jon's grandfather and grandmother. Also, in the TV show adaptation, whose showrunners know from George R.R. Martin himself who Azor Ahai is, they revealed in 10th episode of season 6 that Lyanna Stark is Jon's mother, and that Jon was born under a bleeding star, which fulfills the part of prophecy which says that the prince that was promised will be born under a bleeding star. As we could see, Eddard Stark entered the Tower of Joy with a blooded sword Dawn, the ancestral sword which was forged from a fallen star. Does Dawn covered in blood counts? Yeah, I think it does. It's also important to highlight a few other facts, like for example, when Melisandre looks into the fire to see Azor Ahai, Melisandre only sees things related to either Jon or Snow. Second thing that I would highlight is Jon's dream, that he dreamed in the books, the dream in which he fights the others, aka the White Walkers with a red sword, burning in his hand. The only thing that Jon didn't achieve, at least not yet, is awakening dragons from stone. I don't know if all of this is only coincidence or Jon is really Azor Ahai and the Promised Prince, but in my opinion there is also possibility and proofs of Azor Ahai being female instead of male. The prophecy was originally made using the Valyrian word for dragons, who are neither male or female, meaning that Azor Ahai may be reborn as a female as well. Let's see if Daenerys has more matches to be Azor Ahai. Let's focus on possible proof that Daenerys is Azor Ahai. The prophecy fits Daenerys perfectly. She was born at Dragonstone, an island in the Narrow Sea, meaning that we have salt from waves hitting the shores of Dragonstone, and also she was reborn as the mother of dragons on Khal Drogo's burning funeral bonfire, which matches with the part of prophecy which includes amid smoke. On that bonfire, Dany's 3 dragon eggs hatched, which fits perfectly in part of prophecy which says born amid salt and smoke to wake dragons from stone. Also, a very important fact is that on the morning for the first time the red comet appeared in the sky, which fits the part which says when the stars bleed. For the final confirmation of Daenerys being Azor Ahai, we have an additional prophecy from a Woods of Witch, prophesied that the prince that was promised would be born from the line of Aerys and Rhaella. As we all know, this prophecy also fits Daenerys perfectly, since Daenerys is the daughter of Aerys and Rhaella. When Samwell Tarly told to Maester Aemon the rumors about Daenerys Targaryen and her dragons, Aemon became certain that Daenerys is prophesied leader. Aemon told to Sam, "No one ever looked for a girl. It was a prince that was promised, not a princess." And also told to Sam that Daenerys is the one, born amid salt and smoke. The dragons prove it, Aemon told. In Maester Aemon's earlier life, he thought Rhaegar was the prince that was promised, as Rhaegar was born during the tragedy at Summerhall, amid smoke of the burning castle, with salt coming from the tears of those who cried for those who had died. By that time, Maester Aemon was wrong. In this video, I put Azor Ahai and the prince that was promised as the one, same person, but what if those two are not going to be one person, no matter on similarities? Almost the same prophecies about these two. What if Azor Ahai is the one hero while the prince that was promised is another one? Could it be that one hero is going to be Jon Snow while the other one is going to be Daenerys Targaryen, and those two together will fight against the darkness, against the White Walkers? Now, I'm going to tell you one fun theory, a theory in which Jorah Mormont is Azor Ahai. By this theory, the salt refers to the sea, which is, as we know, salty. The sea where Jorah got grayscale, where the smoke refers to what his arm becomes. Again, this is only a fun theory, so don't take it too seriously. As the theory goes, the part of prophecy which says awakening dragons from the stone is by this theory fulfilled with the fact that Jorah protected dragon eggs from Viserys, and by that, Jorah is credible for eggs being hatched. By this theory, Jorah will figure out that Daenerys is too obsessed with becoming queen and with avenging her family, while Jon needs her armies and dragons to support the Great War in the north. In this theory, George R.R. Martin, along with Dan and Dave, tried to convince us that Jorah would never betray Daenerys, but eventually he will. Apparently, Jorah is going to realize that the White Walkers must be stopped, and the only way to gain Dany's army's support is to do unimaginable, to kill Daenerys in favor to save Westeros from the long night. I have to admit that, in this theory, it will represent perfect parallel to Azor Ahai sacrificing his beloved wife Nissa, and it will represent Vader's fate ending that George R.R. Martin earlier announced. As the theory goes, Jorah stabs Daenerys to the heart, giving to his sword Dany's magical dragon blood, which will make his sword burning. This theory affirms that Dany will become a villain, Jon is the last hero, while Jorah is Azor Ahai. As I've said, this theory is only for fun. There are a lot of things that don't match with prophecy about it, so don't take this theory too seriously. I'm relying on Jon being Azor Ahai, while Daenerys is the princess that was promised, just like Maester Aemon said. What's your opinion on all of this? Do you think that Azor Ahai and the princess that was promised are the same hero? Or do you think it's two different heroes?